Turn it up. It's The Record Machine with your host, Jimmy Hall.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome from the Great Affairs, singer-songwriter Denny Smith to the program. How you doing, Denny?
How you doing, man?
Not too bad.
Sorry, I'm liquidating some Star Wars figures on eBay, and I was trying to get this last one pecked out on here before the phone rang. But I'm caught up now. I'm all good.
Nice. So you collect figures, huh?
I don't, but I still have. I'm trying to declutter my closets in my basement, so I've been going through and selling all this accumulated crap that I've still got every single one of my Star Wars toys, G.I. Joe, just tons of stuff, man. My mom was really good about keeping everything. So
wow,
it's turned into a storehouse down there, and there's no room for new stuff, so old stuff's got to go. So,
I thought maybe because you have the record shop that you sell like figures there too, some record stores
we do. Yeah, we do. We do sell. We don't lean into it as hard as we did when we used to do comics for a few years too, and we got way into the action figure thing. But yeah, we don't. We only like now. It's just like the Iron Maiden action figures and Ghost and Lemmy stuff like that. If it's music centric, we carry it, but we don't do much with old school toys or anything. I wish we had the square footage to do it because I've got enough here to get us started with an inventory just in my basement, probably to get us started for a few months. It's stupid how much this stuff is down there.
Wow, you got Kiss action figures too?
I never had the original dolls. I think Kenny's got them all. Kenny's probably got them all in triplicate, but I got all the reissue McFarlane stuff when the reunion stuff happened.
Right.
I bought every set of those. There's probably some of those still in packages down there.
Wow.
Because my kid was super into Kiss when he was little, so we bought him, everything. So there was probably a set of them that's still in the blister pack, and there's a set that got taken out and played with. So there's some redundancy down there too. Probably just all packed up in boxes.
Do you have any comic books that are worth a lot of money?
When I first moved out of the house, like I got my first apartment, I sold the bulk of my comic collection. So I've still got a few things, but I didn't take the stuff that I sold was the stuff I'd taken really good care of. And now this stuff has moved, to other states, and I'd be afraid to open up the boxes that it's in now and look at it because I didn't bag and board a lot of it. So I'm sure most of it's not worth much.
Yeah. What's the most you ever spent on a comic book?
Not a lot, man. I've never gone. The only thing I've chased down, and please don't make fun of me for this, but I love that Kevin Costner movie Waterworld.
Okay.
And I found out that there was a sequel comic book series that they made for that. And I tracked that down on eBay and bought it a few years ago. I didn't pay that much, maybe, $25-$30 for the whole set of them. So I've never done the high dollar. That's a Kenny thing. Kenny's got serious, the kind of stuff that people drool over that you see on, Kevin Smith's show and stuff. So I don't get into that. That's too rich for my blood. I got guitars to buy, man. I can't be spending that money on comic books.
Now, has the Great Affairs comic book gone up in value since it's came out?
That's a good question. I don't know. I saved a couple of them. I made sure that I kept number one, so of my own hand numbered limited edition. So I've not seen them trading for big money on the dark web or anything, but it's hard to say.
Is there going to be a second installment or?
Kenny swears that he's already got that started, so we'll see. The thing is that stuff is all most of those original, the stuff that he transferred over into those comic images were just candid shots that we had no idea he was collecting. Mm-hmm. So, and we had to, of course, do a couple that were posed to get the stuff to finish it. And every time I talk to him about it, he's like, well, I need to get a couple more shots. So, so I think there are some panels done. Who knows when it will materialize. It may just show up on Instagram or, Facebook or something. I don't know if we'll print another batch, but it was cool to do it. Yeah, he'll do another one at some point. We may just make it a little, a serialized entry that appears every few months on Facebook or something, but I'd like to print a follow-up. It'd be cool.
Yeah, I've never taken mine out of the plastic yet. I still have it sealed.
Oh, it's a riveting tale, man. I mean, the fact that you've been able to hold off on that narrative is impressive.
Yeah, it's still sealed, man. I have not opened it yet. I think I will someday, but I just haven't gotten around to it.
Yeah, it's a novelty. It was a cool thing to do as being Kiss fans and stuff. It was, we didn't put any of our own bodily fluids into the ink or anything, but
right.
It was, to my knowledge at least, it was a cool thing to get to do. I mean, it's hard to find anything. I mean, at least for us, because we're dinosaurs, it's just hard to find clever stuff to do to package with a record anymore that's feasible, that you can actually do and not break the bank. So that was to finding that. The printing company that we use to do posters and stuff with does those comics. And I just happened to see that advertised on, they were sending something out, 15% off this month on poster printing or something. And I saw they had comics. I said, I wonder how but surely we can't afford that.
Uh-huh. And
I went and looked and flipped through it. I was like, so we could, because Kenny he's really into that stuff. I'm, that kind of faded for me years ago, but he's still really gung ho about collecting stuff. So it was, that was probably a bucket list thing for him to get to do that. So it was cool.
Well, maybe there'll be a Great Affairs action figure next.
Well, we do have a lunchbox. A buddy of mine made lunchboxes for us where we're all G.I. Joe characters. That's on the outside of the lunchbox. It even has like former members and stuff on it too. It's pretty cool. And our engineer Michael's on there, so he did do that. And the same guy had a buddy of his do an Escape from New York. I'm a huge fan of the Snake Plissken stuff, and he did an Escape from New York poster for us that had us all like caricatures of us done as the characters from the movie too. That was pretty badass.
Yeah, I mean, that's awesome. I mean, everybody does like a t-shirt or a poster and stuff like that. So to come up with an idea like that, like a comic book or a lunchbox or, something like that, I think it's pretty cool. I think the fans appreciate it,
Yeah, I mean, maybe we'll do Pez dispensers or something. I don't know. There's got to be something. It's got to be something that we can squeeze into our budget. We'll see. But action figures would be, I know you can get those bobbleheads made, but that's a little probably cost prohibitive. But yeah, that'd be a good idea.
That's something to look into, right?
Shape for the molding though. For that, that'd be the only time I ever had abs, probably in my entire life.
Yeah. You can make yourself look jacked as much as you want, right? It's not like you have to put the work in at the gym, right?
No.
So you can drink all the beer and do all the shots you want, but just make sure I got that 6-pack.
Well, it's got to be the
abs, not the beer.
You got every time they do those caricature things, they always accent your most unflattering feature. So it's like, who knows what my action figure would look like? I don't know. Maybe my giant forehead or something.
Some people have like a big nose or like big teeth. So, yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty funny, though. I think that would look pretty cool, actually.
Yeah, I mean, anything like that that's like because you're only going to do a few of them. That was the thing with the comic. I think we only did 100 copies or something. So it only went out with that first 100 CDs. Mm-hmm. So it is, I mean, if we were Foo Fighters or something, having one of those would be a big deal. It's not like it's one of those NFTs or something that's worth, $100,000 or anything. But it is cool that, to know there's 100 of those, 99 of those floating around out there. Hopefully they're not in the trash somewhere, but
I'm sure people are holding on to them,
Yeah, I know. I flip through mine at least once a week.
Very cool.
I do not. It's sitting up here on the shelf. I don't think I've ever taken mine out of here. I already know what happens at the end, so it's cool.
Yeah, the last time we spoke on the air was a little over a year ago, and I spoke with you and Joshua about the Larimores. For
the Larimores project. Yeah, that's cool. He's got a new record coming out the same day as the StrangeLuv EP that we've got coming out, both on July 8th. So, and I've only heard the single so far. Mm-hmm. But Kenny played on some of it and stuff, and he said it's fantastic. So
yeah, like you mentioned, your EP StrangeLuv is coming out on July 8th. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, it's for all intents and purposes, it's just kind of a time buyer. Mm-hmm. We've got the album is about 3/4 done. We're actually going in tomorrow to do a couple more bass tracks and just catch there's little snippets of stuff that we need to add and finalize a couple mix things that we're still tweaking on. But, in the meantime, we've got some shows. So it's like, we really need to get something new out there, like really out there, not just something that we floated on, YouTube or on Facebook or whatever. So we had kind of leaked one song just made like a little, collage kind of montage video thing that we put up for When Love Is the Drug, which is not on the EP. That only just kind of exists in the internet ether out there. But and then we had this other song that we thought, well, we already have the single, quote unquote, singles picked out from the record, and this was one that was kind of, StrangeLuv's more of a riff song, and it's a little different than what we would normally put forward as the proper single. So why don't we just put this out? There's two versions of it. One's the trimmed for radio thing, and then there's one that has a big outro coda bit on it where we Corey and I trade solos and stuff, and it's it's kind of like an Aerosmith kind of vibe thing. And then we took the 3 remixes that we did from the last record, where Corey added his parts and we had Michael remix it. We put those on there so they'd have a proper release. They're not just because they only went to radio. They didn't go, there was no physical release of those, and we didn't ever put them up for streaming. So now those will be out there too. So the remixes of I'm All Right and Worn Out Souls that we had videos for, and then High on Rose, the remix for High on Rose from the last record. So those 3 will be on there, and then 2 versions of the new song, StrangeLuv.
Now with this new album, this full-length album coming out, will Michael St. Leon be working on that one too?
He is hard at work on it now. So yeah, it's half mixed. We've got about half of the mixes back on it, and it's he's such a brilliant guy. We lean on him for a lot of stuff, but he really he's had a good run the last few years, some really legit success, and I'm just happy that he's got time to still work with us, to be honest with you. But he's really cracked the whip on himself with this stuff, because there's some we've done some different things. We kind of a lineup change can do that for you sometimes. It kind of opens up new stuff that you didn't really know the band was capable of doing. So we kind of branched out a little bit on this stuff sonically. There's some really cool guitar stuff happening, and just some production trickery that I'm not sure if we'll be able to play every single one of these songs live now, but it sure does sound good, in the studio. So
okay, does this album have a title, and when can we expect it?
It does have a title. I think we're going with Sleepwalker as the name of the record. That's one of the tracks that's already in the can.
Okay.
As far as the release date, man, I honestly don't know. We had a track listing that we settled on when we went in to start the drums, and we had 10 songs, and those were the 10 songs. And you go and you do the first batch, and we'd continue to write. And now I'm kind of wondering if maybe might be some other songs that should get bumped to the front of the line. So we'll know over the next couple of months probably, but I would imagine we'll have it out by the end of the year. But I don't know, man. It's just such a weird time for music. Even just the idea of doing this single thing is still, we've done it before with like little digital EPs and stuff. And
right.
It's just, you can't turn a record around quick like you used to. I mean, you can get it recorded and done, but you can't get vinyl pressed without giving yourself 8 months lead time. And, there's just a lot of factors to consider. And when you're doing it all yourself, like we are, it's kind of tough to, you got to budget that, like every other small business kind of thing. So I would like to have it out by the end of the year, but I also know the practical, reasons for putting it out when you, can do as many shows as possible, which, January and February, for anybody that's ever traveled in a van, those really aren't the ideal months to to trot it out there. So, we'll see. But yeah, I'd like to have it out in this calendar year if possible.
Cool. In the press release, you describe your new material as pop-infused classic rock with a slightly harder edge. Would that be due to the addition of Corey Rizzo Rozzoni on guitar?
It definitely has an effect. We've worked really closely on this, him and I, as far as the guitar stuff goes, to get more of a guitar team kind of thing going on. We have similar styles, but he favors a much heavier, sonically, he's into much heavier stuff than I am, by and large. But we have enough common ground where it's like, okay, this works, and it's cool because I like a lot of that stuff too. But as always, I'm going to try and bring as much of the pop thing to the table as I can, at least as much as they'll let me get away with. So it's been a trip trying to get these, work these guitar parts out and make it all fit together. But that's another reason too. I think that this holding off on putting the record out now is kind of, I feel like there's writing that is yet to happen in the room, in the rehearsal room, where where he's more involved, because he's still, he's been with us for a while, but he's still feeling out this being a contributing, member of the band thing. When he initially came in, he was a band member, but he also had his own band, on the side that he was doing too, where that was most of his creative energy was going into. And now that is it's on hiatus, at least, for now. And he's leaned into this a little bit harder. So, I'd like to see what we can come up with together in the room, because we do play really well together guitar wise. But he definitely brings a heavier right hand to the proceedings. So there's the guitars are a lot thicker on this record. The tones are a lot meatier. It just sounds big, it just sounds really big.
Very cool.
Which is, I've been trying to do that for years, but when you've got guys that, and this is no slight to Patrick, because he's a great player, but he was more of a blues influenced guy, and he really wanted to lean more onto that, Black Crowes kind of thing, which I love. I just don't do it well.
Okay.
So this kind of, I'm more like, I'm favor the Rick Nielsen Cheap Trick noisy pop guitar thing. So this kind of meets in the middle more, I think, than we did previously. So it sounds fat, which is how it needs to sound.
Cool. Now, you mentioned earlier, you said lineup changes. Is that the only one?
Well, we keep trying to get rid of Matt, but every week he's here for rehearssil. No, that's the only thing. There's just, the shift was, after that many years, it was weird. I played for Pat. We're with Pat for going on 20 years, man, off and on. So sometimes it seems like more than one thing got changed out, but it just has been, it's a lot more dramatic difference in how we get things together and how we do things than it was previously. So it's been an adjustment, but a good one. It's cool to hear that heavy guitar thing. That we haven't really had that previously. A little bit here and there, but yeah, you'll know. When you hear it, you'll understand, I think.
Gotcha. This podcast is going to feature two of your new tracks, "StrangeLuv" and "When Love Is the Drug." What's the story behind those two songs?
"StrangeLuv" was just one of those kind of accidental, almost like like Joe Walsh says with what's the Life in the Fast Lane riff. It's like it started out as a warm up lick, basically. I was just noodling around the guitar. I was like, that's cool, and I didn't think about the fact that if I made that as a song, someone would have to play it for 4 minutes straight, because it's a hand cramper for sure. But it just kind of came together. I've been doing a lot more demoing of this stuff, because like I said, when Corey joined, we were so far into backpedaling in and getting him caught up on all the old material that we didn't have time to dick around jamming on stuff and trying to write stuff as much as we wish we had. But so I was just cranking out demos and started stacking stuff up, and that was right about the time that when that one came together, it was one of the first ones where I was like, okay, now we can throw away some of this crap that I was warming up on, and now there's a few here that are worth really looking at. And it just kind of, the outro bit of it was actually another song entirely that we took and we added it to this, like stuck it on instead of being its own song. Now it's just this little coda piece. But it's just an Aerosmith-y, riff rock song with we went for one of those anthem chorus kind of thing, breakdown things that are generally really cool live if you get enough people in the room singing along to it. So, and hopefully we will on occasion. And then "When Love Is the Drug" was I don't know if you're familiar with this, there's a European band called the Wild Hearts. And I've been a huge fan of them since Earth versus the Wild Hearts came out back in the 90s, I guess. And that's my attempt at writing a Wild Hearts song. It's got this heavy riff and then this big sugary chorus that almost initially doesn't seem like they should go together, but then you hear it a couple times, it's like, okay, I get it now. So at least I hope that's what people feel about it after listening to it. But it's just a big, another one of those big riffy chugging, rock songs, which is kind of what almost this whole record sounds like, with the exception of a couple. We take a couple twists and turns here and there, but yeah, it was a good guitar workout. It's got a cool little breakdown. Corey throws some, pretty bitchin' Ace Frehley licks over the top of it, and voila, there's your song.
Nice. It looks like on July 30th, you have a big show coming up with Skid Row and Warrant at the Mill in Terre Haute. What's it like playing with guys like that?
Well, I've played with Warrant several times in a couple different bands over the years. It was the last time we played with them, Janie was still alive and fronting the band. But
wow,
they're always. I have this lineup. I've seen this current lineup, and they're great. It's 4 of the 5 guys, so they do it justice. And Robert Mason's a great singer. But I've never played with Skid Row, so this was cool. Knock one off the list kind of thing. And it's a killer venue. It's a huge outdoor venue, so it's you can't beat those at the height of summer. It's pretty. We luck into some of those every once in a while, but it is weird, when you. I mean, I've kind of gotten used to it because we played with so many of those bands from that era over the last few years that this is Skid Row is almost like one of the only ones we haven't played with, I think. So it's I don't geek out like I used to as much, Yeah. My inner 15-year-old.
You're not a fanboy.
Takes a pill. Yeah, I don't do that as much as I used to. But I mean, it's over the years, I was never I was always weird, but I never like getting autographs and stuff. I would go do it and stuff, but I always felt like just weird, bugging people kind of thing. So I kind of got used to that, dude. Yeah, it just feels like I don't know. And then we would, having the record shop and stuff, we would do in-stores. So you would meet these people at in-stores, and you just had to, you had to learn to kind of be, to be cool. And I remember when I first started playing with Best of Seven, I was straight up told, don't be a germ. You got to be a peer, act like a peer. If you don't act like a peer, they're going to treat you like a fan.
Right. So
we were always real conscious of not bugging people, but also not, being demure about anything either and getting run over. We had to go in there and be like we were supposed to be there kind of thing. Mm-hmm. So I just try and be the guy that shows up and does his job and doesn't be a pain in anybody's ass, and hopefully they think we're cool and we get to do it again,
Yeah, the Skid Row, they got that kid Eric singing for them now, right?
Oh, God, he's good, man. He's so good.
He's got some pipes on him.
Yeah. I can't wait to see that live, man. He's killing that stuff.
Yeah,
they needed that. I mean, the last guy was good too, but this kid's just there's something next level about his vocal performance, and he's so into it, that goes a long way.
Yeah, he's got a great sound to him. He's got great range. I think he's gonna last for a while.
Yeah, he's clearly got some gas in the tank, man. I mean, he's obviously a little bit younger than those guys, but I think he fits right in, man. He's got his own thing that he does, and he's not aping Sebastian or doing, which sometimes you get those replacement singers where it's just like, okay, it's the diet version of the original thing, but he's not at all. He's doing it his way, and it's fantastic. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that show.
Yeah, it's kind of like when Queen, they hired Adam Lambert. You know what I mean? They didn't hire a guy that sounds like Freddie. They had a guy. Adam makes those Queen songs his own, and he does a great job at it. Yeah,
and there's plenty of guys out there that could have come in and just done
yeah, that guy
like Journey. Where Journey got Arnel Pineda, and it's like he's obviously doesn't look like Steve Perry, but he sounds is capable of sounding just like Adam Lambert. Doesn't do that,
No, you ever hear of Mark Martel?
Oh yeah.
I mean, he sounds just like Freddie Mercury. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like they could have hired
he's
him.
Got that thing down. Yeah, yeah. Well, remember there was that guy that was on the either the In Excess or Rockstar Supernova. His name was Miggs or Mig. He was a Queen tribute guy too, I think. And so there's those guys are out there. You could get a guy that is you could probably find a guy that's a dead ringer and can sing just like him too. But I don't really care for that, man, because then I just feel like it kind of cheapens the band. Because then what do you get going forward? If that band's still gonna be an active band, you're gonna get some guy that's like giving you what he thinks that other guy would have given you, kind of thing. It just doesn't work for me as much. I like when they the band takes a chance. You have to get somebody within reason. I mean, you've seen the famous ones that backfire because it just, the new guy can't. I mean, this is no slight to John Bush, because I love John Bush and Armored Saint, but I was never a huge fan of the John Bush era of Anthrax because it didn't sound anything at all like the Joey Belladonna era of Anthrax. I was like, I like either one of them individually, but Joey was the guy that should be in Anthrax. That John Bush had a totally different thing, and he did his best, but when they would do those other songs, it didn't sound just wasn't there. He just didn't have that thing. Motley Crue kind of, even though that Motley 94 record is probably my favorite thing after Too Fast for Love and Shout at the Devil, it did not have the same, John Corabi and Vince Neil are light years apart vocally,
Sammy or Dave?
Dave all the way, man.
Yeah.
I mean, so, let's face it, Sammy sings rings around Dave, but those first 6 records, and I kind of wipe my ass with a Diver Down. I can't stand that one so much, but everything else, man, that's just gold. In a corner, make me choose between those 2 eras. I'll go Dave all the way.
Yeah. You mentioned earlier a music video. For what song, and when can we expect that?
Well, we're doing a lyric video for StrangeLuv. It's already done. It comes out on the 6th of July. And then we're doing a video we have treatments for When Love Is the Drug, and there's another song called Fever Breaks, and we've got treatments for both of those. So, I mean, I'd like to do videos for as many of these as we can possibly do. It's just a matter of time and finance, I guess. But those are the 2 that we've got. And one of them, it's got a really cool storyboard thing that we've worked out, and I saw some of the props for it over the weekend, and I mean, there's just one prop in particular that's really cool. So I'm really looking forward to that one. But yeah, we're going to try and we'll try and get them out. We may do, I don't even know yet. We may do another one of these single releases, EP things, before this record comes out. Everybody's doing that, and I'm not super keen on it. I feel like an album's an album, and I like presenting it that way, but practicality dictates otherwise, and everything's about content and staying in people's faces, and we don't, we're not like on the road like some bands are, so our only way to really get into your computer is through these things, or into your attention span whatsoever is to do videos, or I mean, I guess I could do a live stream from my shower every morning or something. I don't know. It's just there's you gotta keep the stuff coming so people continue to pay attention. So
right.
We'll see how we trot it out. I haven't quite figured that yet, but
cool. Take
it as it comes.
Besides the Great Affairs, are you working on any other projects you want to talk about?
I'm always writing. I did a couple new tunes last week, and I've got a handful of stuff that's probably a little too Americana, poppy for what the Great Affairs do. So I may do, I don't know, I might do another solo thing. It's just really hard to get, yourself wound up about that, because I don't really have, other than going out with an acoustic guitar, I don't really have the ability to go out and do a bunch of shows to promote it. So it kind of ends up being a vanity thing. And I guess if I'm just going to do that, I could just record the songs for myself, and it doesn't have to actually be released to the world. But I don't know, I may stumble upon enough songs that I feel really good about that I'm not, that I'm going to be reluctant to sit on for the rest of my life. And then maybe I'll do another solo thing. But I don't know. It's when I send these, I always send everything to the band, and Matt is always, and Kenny is to a certain degree too, always seems to think that we could do any of these things in the band. And I disagree, because I feel like we come in and just, play it, beat it like Rocky Balboa. If we're just not, it's some of that stuff's just too delicate, and we're a bunch of, we play like we've got boxing gloves on sometimes. So just not, some of that stuff's just not going to translate, but who knows? I mean, we slid a couple ballads onto this record too. We had a guest player on a couple things, and, so there's some ivory tickling going on and stuff. So there's, we do dabble in that every once in a while. It's just that, we go to play that stuff live and we just face plant. So yeah. I think we'll stick with the loud guitars and drums,
Now, do you ever write any stuff that you know it's not really for you, but would you be like interested in working with other artists, maybe writing songs for other artists?
Yeah. All the time. I did a record several years ago. There's a guy, Thomas Edwards, that I essentially gave him a bunch of songs that I didn't think we were going to use, which it did in turn bite me in the ass, because I got a lot of grief from Kenny about it later. But he's still trying to get me to re-record one of these things. But Tommy took the stuff and did a really cool record. I played on a bunch of it, and we're fans of some of the same stuff, so it was a logical thing to do, and it was really cool because we may have talked about this before, but it was not long before Gary Richrath, the original guitar player from REO, passed away, mm-hmm. and Tommy was playing in his solo band. They were putting a solo band together when he became ill, and so the last thing that he ever played on was this song that Tommy and I wrote. He came in and did guitar tracks on it and stuff, because he was really into the song. So that was kind of, nice growing up in the Midwest where they were like, those guys were gods when I was a kid. And my dad actually went to high school with Gary. So it was it was a big deal for me to get to be on something or have him on something that I wrote. But so, I have done some of that stuff, and I do contribute things here and there to other people's. I haven't been really good about it lately, to be honest with you, man. Maybe it's the pandemic thing kind of nipped some of that in the bud, but or I'm just lazy and I'm just kind of selfish. I like keeping the stuff for myself. I could work harder at it. I'm too busy selling action figures to network, I guess. I don't know.
Got to make a buck somehow, right?
Yeah. It certainly doesn't come from music most days. But dude. I would totally. I love collaborating with people, and I've got a couple of people that I like to co-write with on the regular. That we haven't been doing it as much lately, but yeah. I'm always down for doing that stuff.
Do you have a website you'd like to promote?
It's just DennySmithMusic.com or TheGreatAffairs.com. It'll all take you to the same place. All of our, with the exception of YouTube, which I guess we could claim it now. We've got enough followers, but we've been lazy about that too. Surprise. But our Instagram, Twitter, all that stuff is just /TheGreatAffairs. We're really easy to find. Mm-hmm. It's not tough to track us down. And then once you get there, there's, links to 30 other things that we've got stuff on. So there's plenty to poke around through, and all of my rambling musings that are just like what I'm babbling about right now, just in print form. There's plenty of that on there, occupy your time if you're so inclined. And lots of great pictures, mostly Matt. We like to put pictures of Matt sleeping and his earplugs that he collects, that kind of stuff. So.
Cool. Now, we talked about merch before. You still got a lot of cool merch up on the site?
Yeah, it's all. We're not carrying any new stuff on the road with us, but we do have a bunch of new designs through Store Frontier. I did a shirt for when Love Is the Drug came out. We did a shirt with the cover art from that turned out really cool. And I've got a really cool idea for a StrangeLuv shirt that I may upload this week. I'm still tinkering with it. I'm not sure if I feel 100% that it's cool enough to be a t-shirt, but we put something out. There's usually a new design on there about every 3 or 4 months, and we cycle them in and out as we come up with new stuff. So, and they do the print on demand thing. So awesome. You can get them in tie dyes or, whatever color not whatever color, but whatever one of 3 colors, I think, on each design. So there's a lot of variables and hoodies and, koozies and all that stuff.
Nice. Is there anything you'd like to mention that we didn't talk about today?
On Thursday, we're playing the Mockingbird Theater with Blackheart Saints and Native Sons. Mm-hmm. The single comes out the next day on the 8th. Video comes out the day before on the 6th. And then we have a month to prepare for this Skid Row warrant thing and get this record done, hopefully, in the meantime. So, yeah, that's really short of, hopefully we get out and play a few more shows this summer. That's the focus, is just getting this record done. And I just feel like this happens every single time we do a record. And there's this thing, I'm sure this happens to all kinds of bands or every band, that you get the thing done and then somebody brings in a damn song like the week after you've declared it finished that sounds better than everything else. And I just feel like we haven't, even though we already know what the focus tracks of this thing are,
right? I
feel like I just feel like there's something bubbling under. And I've been trying to, make sure I don't lose any of my iPhone memo demos because I've started, 20 other songs. I just feel like there's 1 or 2 more ideas that are going to materialize. So I don't want to rush this thing getting done because I want it needs to, bury the last record. That's always the goal. So
awesome. Well, Denny, I want to thank you so much for coming on the show today, man.
Yeah, thanks for thinking of me, Jimmy. I appreciate it, man.
It's always a great time talking to you. I want to wish you the best of luck with this EP, the album, and the shows coming up too, man.
Well, thank you, sir. I appreciate that.
All right, well, let's stay in touch. And when that new album when the album comes out, come back on, all right?
I will definitely do that.
All right, man. You take care, all right?
All right, see you, man.
Bye-bye.
Something I could turn around and make a bed of roses for my house that we've been burning down. I guess I needed you to show me to the underground and cut a little figure so I knew just when to make a sound. You got the best of me. You never getting over it. I should've listened when I thought I heard the trigger trip. It's hard to get the message when there's someone always talking shit. You made a mess of me. We lost the track, we need to stop.